Okay. See, that's what I need to do is to get us both in there. See if we can. So you know what? Turn it on the side. Yeah, get both of us like that.
I would, but they have to turn their phone.
Okay.
I'm saying put it on your computer over on the side like that. Yeah. I'll say that. Yeah,
Let me turn this light right there. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's how we're gonna have to do it. But we're gonna catch it some kind of way. We're gonna find a way around this thing. That's where, yeah, buddy. Oh, man. Okay. Okay. Now that'll work. All right. Now, like I said, there's things we wish we knew when we were younger. For instance, there's a big difference between genuine friendships and convenient friendships. And I often say a good friend will see you get in trouble and say, "Wow, you got in some trouble." A real friend will be there right with you, talking about, "Damn, we got in trouble."
Right. And, and that's the thing, man. Me and my brother the other day was talking, and and it's character.
Yeah,
it's character that makes it different. I mean,
that's what it boils down to.
You don't even gotta be a friend, but if you got good character, you can come off as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't even have to know you. It's just my character is good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Hey, what you get? The call? Okay.
He outside, one of my buddies.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, anyway, like I was saying, some things we wish you knew better. Saying no isn't selfish. Sometimes people ask you to do things that's just going to cost you too much. It's going to cost you too much, whether it's too much money, too much time, too much of yourself. Saying no for your own good is not selfish. And I tell you something, family matters, but they can be wrong too. Don't get that mixed. Life can change at any second. At any second. You can be going down the street and look up and run into somebody you haven't seen in 40 years who will bring you something that will change your life from that point on. Life can change at any second. Occasionally, you need to remove the toxic people from your life. If people are toxic, they gotta go. They gotta go. That's just how that works. Of course, when I was a young man, I've never been much of a drinker, but we all hit the party, hit the bar, and this, that, and the other sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you something. You will not meet the love of your life in the bar at 2 a.m. Because if she's there at 2 a.m., she up to no good, just like you are. Okay, you need to be ready to grasp opportunity when it comes. Now sometimes opportunity will come along and you have stepping and sleeping on it. It could be something you miss. But I tell you something else about opportunity. Don't sit around waiting for opportunity. Made me think of something Fred Sanford said. Sometimes opportunity don't knock. You got to go out and get it, make it happen. You will actually be thankful some things didn't work out. The way you may have wanted them to. You may have had an ideal to do something that you thought was down the right path. And then when it didn't work out and you look back and say, wow, if I'd have got involved in that,
I'd have been in trouble.
I'd have been in trouble.
Right.
I'd have been in trouble.
Sometimes the creator just make things happen so they won't happen, so you won't be all jammed up.
That's what
you gotta understand. You gotta be connected and feel that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the vibe. You know what I mean?
That's what.
And like I was telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and a brother had a conversation,
mm-hmm.
and it's about the character.
Okay.
Like, okay, if I've been coming to your organization,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You write, right? So if I've been coming to you and getting you to write this book for me, mm-hmm. and only thing I say to you is thank you
mm-hmm.
for doing it,
mm-hmm.
and when I get some money or whatever, I don't hit you off
mm-hmm.
or say, here you go, Pat, thanks for your work or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's messed up.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Right. So, and that's the character. So if your character ain't and you realize that when you supposed to do things and when you don't supposed to do things, if your character don't give you that push or that initiative to do that little extra mile that you need to do for that person that's doing that extra mile for you,
right?
It'll never work. You'll never get anywhere. You'll always come up short on a lot of things.
You got that right.
So it's about having your character right. You know, when you're dealing with people, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
bring your best character, and then you'll get the best results. If you don't, I mean, you'll be looked at as shady and all kind of stuff. So that's what my synopsis.
Okay. Now you know what that leads right into what I'm gonna say, because when you do those type of things like you were talking about, you come to regret it. You know, regret is sometimes not so much the things that you did do, but the things that you didn't do.
Right. That you were supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, when you do things that you supposed to do compared to feeling like you ought to do it, that's different. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And that's what a lot of our people of color do. We don't go that extra mile to take care of our brother when they already taking care of us, but you don't go to the extra mile to take care of them. That's where the hate come in, and the animosity and the jealousy and all of that. You know?
Yeah, you know what? Now that leads into this, like you were saying, sometimes not taken care of,
right? Not
recognizing and being in that position. Let me tell you this little story. Okay, a father said to his son before he died, "This is a football that your grandfather gave me, and it's more than a century old.
Right.
But before I give it to you, I want you to go to the sports shop and tell the clerk that you want to sell it and see how much he offers." So the son went and he came back to his father and told him the sports shop offered him $5.
Right.
Because it's old. He said, "Okay, go to the second-hand shop and see how much they offer." Well, he went to the second-hand shop. He told the father they also offered $5.
Right.
He said, "Okay, now go down to the museum and show them the ball." When he came back and said to his father, "They offered me $500,000 for this old leather ball."
Right.
The father said, "I wanted to let you know the right place values you in the right way. Don't find yourself in the wrong place and get angry if you're not valued."
Right.
Those that know your value are those that appreciate you. Don't stay in a place where nobody sees your value
or appreciate your value.
That's it.
That was tight. I like that.
This is Open Eye. I don't know if this music break gonna work or not. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. All right.
Yo, what's up? Tune in. Check us out. You know what I'm saying? Live. WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah, buddy.
Yaga.
So I had a hard time getting the thing. Oh well.
Andre, what's good?
That's my man.
Kenny.
Yeah, buddy. Okay. Open Eye, WHGE 95.3 FM, the education station. Listen, when we left the station last week, we missed the calls. If you want to call in, you know, I will try to get you. But we missed a couple of calls. And one of the calls that we missed was from a brother, a friend of Nsoromma, that called in. He wanted to talk about, one of the things he mentioned was Egypt. And I understand where the brother's coming from because, you know, he had mentioned the Bible and this, that, and the other, you know. And there's this misconception that slaves built the pyramids. Okay?
A misconception? I mean...
Yeah. Slaves did not build the pyramids. Okay, and of course the generally accepted mythology is that it was the Hebrew slaves that built the pyramids.
I mean,
Okay.
slaves are slaves. Hebrew, black,
Or
white,
whatever, yeah.
whatever. A slave is
Yeah,
slave.
a
You know what I
slave was
mean?
slave, right? But the Hebrew slaves did not build the pyramids.
Okay.
Okay. The pyramids were built by skilled craftsmen. All right. And, it's an ideal that's been going around. It's a, false ideal that's been going around when the evidence points to everything else.
I mean, even though I would only have to understand that the skilled craftsmen wouldn't be the ones physically doing the work, so it'd have to be the slaves that was doing the work of putting the building together, and the craftsmen, the skilled craftsmen, to tell them what to do. Yeah, but the skilled craftsman putting it together himself, I can't see that. I can see
well,
hiring or.
Let me tell you something. The people that built the pyramids, the workers on the pyramids, like I said, were skilled craftsmen. And the laborers, and all evidence points to this, the laborers were highly paid.
Oh, you said they were paid, so they weren't slaves.
They were not slaves.
Oh, okay.
They were highly paid. The laborers, the skills craftsmen, everybody involved. It was a national national building project. Right.
Yeah, like they pulled people from all over the world.
All over the empire.
Yeah.
To participate in this. And not only was it a national effort, but it was a national effort in which the workers, laborers, skilled craftsmen, designers from the top down, okay, took a lot of pride in participating and felt honored
to be part
of this situation. Not slaves. Not slaves.
Well, I didn't know that. I always thought it was built up by and actually a group of less fortunate helping.
No. And see, here's another thing. The Egyptians, the people of Kemet, ancient Egypt, were great recorders of their history. Okay, which they often, not only did they write it on the papyrus, but they carved it in stone.
Right.
There is nowhere, and they recorded the good and the bad. There's nowhere where they mention the Hebrew slaves. Yeah, this is open eye. Where you gonna learn? I want to fast forward in our history to slavery. Slavery interrupted our history, put it like that. One of the things that went on during slavery, because the American government put a stop to the importation of slaves, which was too expensive.
I thought it was because, when they was importing, it wasn't just black people they were importing. They was getting all kind of people and every color of nationality. And the government got tired of that and then end up going, okay, we just gonna direct it at these people.
Okay.
And they picked us as the people to be the ones to attack.
Okay, that goes back a little further to what I'm getting to, but I'm gonna break that down. Okay. Before there was quote unquote in America, there was slavery. And initially slaves were black and white. But the white slaves and some of the black slaves were what you call indentured servants, meaning that they were only enslaved as long as they paid for long enough to pay off their debt to the slave master. Indentured servants. Okay. Now the indentured servants, as a rule, were Europeans, a lot of Irish, but British as well. But like I said, there were also blacks that were indentured, Africans that were indentured servants, and they were able to work off their term of slavery and obtain land and live free. Okay. Now there was a man named Bacon in the 1600s. And Bacon looked at the plantation owners, even though he was a middle class property owner. He looked at the plantation owners as the enemy of the people, and rightly so. So what Bacon did was he got the indentured servants, black and white, and the black slaves together and rebelled against the rich plantation owners.
Okay.
Okay, and it almost worked. It almost worked. They almost took the plantation owners down in Virginia. Okay, but of course they were outnumbered and they were assisted by other plantation owners, throughout the 13 colonies.
Right, right.
So Bacon's rebellion was eventually put down. Now the plantation owners realized that the whites and blacks recognized themselves as allies. So in order to put a stop to that, this is where they really came up with this black-white thing. Okay. Because before then, you were European, you were British, you were Irish, you were French.
Were your nationality.
You were your nationality.
Yeah.
Okay? So what they did was they declared that to the indentured servant that you're white. And one day, in your whiteness, you can be as rich and wealthy as the rest of us white people.
I heard that the white people were really us as the black people. And they just call, I ain't see how it was got to, but that's what the original white people came from, us being the white people first, and then they taking it and running with it as a foot thing, as like they always did. So I got to go a little bit deeper in and find out how that
sounds
about,
really,
but I was like going on that too.
But at any rate, what they did was they made slavery. They discontinued indentured servitude. Okay, so whites were no longer indentured servants, and they were then paid a very small amount and given a little piece of land, so that their whiteness was thought to, in their minds, that one day they could be as the rich plantation owners, as the elites. Okay, and they made slavery exclusively black. Okay, okay, and what they did was, with the poor whites, were they paid them a pittance and made them feel as though they were above the black slave.
Right.
Okay. And that mindset amongst poor whites is still there. No matter how bad you have it, as a poor white, in the back of your mind is the thought that at least you're not black.
Right.
Okay. And like I said, that comes with that, at least you're not black. So, that mindset still keeps them from supporting their own best interests, with the hopes that one day they will be able to join the elites. What they don't understand is the elites hate them as much as they hate blacks. That's why they call them PW, poor white trash. They hate them as much as they hate the N-words, and they see you as no better than. And like I said, I was bringing that around to, the end of the Atlantic slave trade, the end of shipping slaves in. What they did was they started breeding farms.
And breeding farms are
where they bred slaves instead of importing them. Okay, and that's pretty crazy. And it was in 1808, America banned the import of slaves from Africa and the West, and even from the West Indies. Okay, they banned that. Okay, and after they banned that, what they did was they found it would be cheaper to breed slaves, because they had already started doing that when they were raping our women, and the children from that rape would be a slave.
Right.
Even though that was their own child, they're still black. You're a slave.
I mean, even doing that, rape is rape. That's a criminal offense.
Yeah.
And how are they acting like that's not criminal? Any of this action that we're talking about, it's all criminal.
It's all criminal.
So
yes, indeed.
I think reparations shouldn't even be in the air. It should be them being locked up for their criminal things that they have been doing.
To our people.
This is much deeper than just a reparation thing. I think they should be all punished and held accountable for their destruction of our nation.
Well, of course, we lionize and make heroes of many of the founding fathers, like You know, Washington, Jefferson, and
Columbus, and
yeah,
I mean,
you know,
all the fake heroes.
right,
Yeah.
right. They all a bunch of rapists, man. You know, like I said, now on these breeding farms, okay, you know, they would find slave women that, you know, had them childbearing hips,
Right.
you know, and were fertile and what have you, and they would start them as young as 12 and 13. As soon as, you know, they had their menstrual cycle, okay, with they're able to bear children, so they start jumping on, and they would get black studs. Okay, now this part was real crazy right here. They would get black studs, and this was their job to have sex with slave women. Okay, and what they would do is they would just line them up, and as long as he could go and, you know, ejaculate and impregnate these women, by all means do it. Didn't matter who the woman was. So in order to keep the identity of the women from that slave, from that stud, they would blindfold him. He'd just do his thing. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Now, this is where the term MF means. Y'all know what I mean?
Right.
This is where this term comes from. Because in that line of women that stud would have sex with, there could be his mother.
Right, because he's blindfolded.
He's blindfolded. He don't know.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. This is how deep this thing is.
That's what they love to do. Incest.
Yeah.
They breed through incest.
Oh yeah, they breed through incest. They breed through incest. You know. Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's messy.
Is that messy, brother?
Oh my God.
Is that messy?
Listen, the information you're getting from the Open Eye Radio is more than radio.
Yep. Not gonna get this. Not gonna get this everywhere, brother. That's what this is the Open Eye.
Yeah, I see that. Good. Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah, that's indeed. You know, that's my everybody.
Yo, what's up? Where y'all at? Come on, tune in. Flip up, call in, make some noise. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. We out here. We ain't scared. Sign it. 95.3 FM WHGE Radio. Wow.
Some stuff I'm like to hold back on because we gotta get to this big deal here. I said some stuff I'm not to hold back on because we gotta get to this big deal here. I said I meant to leave out the hand, but that's okay. That's all good. We gotta get down with the corona thing. WHGE 95.3 FM. Well, it looks like the orange disaster finally stepped up yesterday and declared a national emergency concerning COVID-19.
Man, he's like the Joker.
Yeah, you got that right.
You know,
without the makeup.
Right, from Batman, Robin, he's the Joker.
I heard that.
Like, you know, the world's serious, and he's taking it as a game. I really don't like the position he's playing right now.
I heard that, Hoss. You know, because look, he blew the response. He really did. He blew the response. Okay. Because he that when he did that press conference or whatever it was he did, you see that that's in it was the prime time address on Wednesday. He faced a pivotal moment at this time. Okay, the pandemic has claimed thousands of lives
Right.
and reached U.S. shores as global markets took historical plunges. In a normal world, Trump would have looked presidential. Stick to the teleprompter and assure Americans that his administration understood the threat facing the country and would take dramatic action to curb the spread of the deadly violence.
Right.
That's what a real leader would have done.
Right.
That didn't happen. No. Trump bungled the key facts about the administration's response. 3 assertions had to be immediately walked back by the White House staff.
He actually went off of the teleprompter and started talking, saying what he wanted to say.
Yeah, you talking about somebody that don't need to be improvising. You idiot, don't you never improvise. Y'all write that stuff down for him and let him read it off the teleprompter.
He can't read.
That's right.
The whole
thing.
Damn,
that's right. I forgot about that.
That's why he left the teleprompter.
Yeah. And you know what happened? As he continued to speak, right? Global stocks and U.S. futures tumbled.
Right, immediately. Plundered.
Yeah, plundered. Yeah. It was like somebody was robbing them this thing.
Right.
I almost said something.
Oh, my God.
Now almost the same moment, police were shutting down a basketball arena in Oklahoma City after a player of the Utah Jazz tested positive for coronavirus.
Right.
Now the NBA
is closed down.
It's suspended.
The rest of the season.
Yep.
March Madness is done.
It's done.
I mean, anything that's
NHL done.
Anything dealing with a bunch of people that's crowded in the congregation is done.
It's done. It's done. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Okay. Sometimes it takes a global pandemic to realize that electing a stupid, corrupt, racist, incompetent, narcissist reality TV character who can't stop lying might have actually been a real good idea.
Rewind. Can't stop what?
That can't stop lying.
Rewind. That can't what?
Can't stop lying. The orange disaster. Every guy his mouth fly open, he lying. How you know Trump lying? He talking. That's how you know.
How you know he lying?
He talking. He talking. He lying. He lying. That's word.
And then you got some Trump supporters that's all for it, saying they out to get Trump and it all this.
It's a hoax and this, that, and the other.
Stop.
Look, man. Now
this is way deeper than Trump.
Of course, like I said, Trump declared a national emergency, and this was after many governors and mayors had already declared state and city emergency.
Right, not even worried about his decision.
Right.
They're doing it on their own.
They're doing it on their own, and rightfully so.
Right.
Schools are closed here.
Wow.
Yeah, some I saw where some church services are even going to be canceled and what have you.
Yeah. Anything, the malls is gonna be closed.
Malls,
Supermarkets, you better get food and water, toilet paper, and stuff like that right now.
Yeah.
Because I think they're gonna close the whole state down for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, you can't get what do you call that? Hand sanitizer.
Oh yeah, you have to make it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's shaky too.
You need 90% alcohol.
Is it 90 or 10?
90.
90%?
90% alcohol and some
Alvera or aloe?
Aloe, yeah.
Aloe, okay.
You need aloe, 90% alcohol, shake it up, and then you making sanitizer.
Okay. Well, the thing is that, some people don't know what they're doing with that. For instance, this lady was making her own, and she sold it to some kids.
Sold it?
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you something. You got some places where, you go to the dollar store, no hand sanitizer. Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, they ain't got none. We go around the corner by the hood, right over there by where my man's selling that thing, right? They got some hand sanitizer. I got that for you, 50 cents. What's up? $2. Messy, right? Right? And this lady, we laughing, and this lady, she sold some, and I guess she put 110 proof alcohol in there, made it with some Everclear or some mess, right? And it burned the kids' hands, and she got locked up.
Almost definitely.
Yeah, they locked that
putting the
ass up.
chemical process together and trying to sell it?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, they locked that ass up. They sure did. That's word. Now, here's the thing, all right? With the school closings, so far the school closings here for at least the next 2 weeks, which will come into spring break, and they'll probably extend spring break. Okay, but here's the thing, and this is sad right here. The fact that some parents don't want the school to close because of the coronavirus, because they don't have child care, and some can't afford to replace the school meal their child will miss, is all you need to know about how sorry this country is. Okay.
My thing is also, like, you got some people that's living check to check,
Right.
or before the check.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose a week or two off of work, you're going to be
Right.
done.
That's right.
And this particular situation
Mm-hmm.
is going to have America, people that's just been barely making it,
Mm-hmm.
to go all the way under.
Right.
And that's how, you know, it's either going to be a rich or a poor.
Yeah.
And this is the start of that.
That's where we're headed.
This is it. This is the
That's
beginning
where we're
of that start.
That's right. Well, you know, the Federal Reserve said it would make vast sums of short-term loans available on Wall Street and purchase Treasury securities in a coronavirus-related response that aimed at preventing, you know, the downturn in the stock market. Matter of fact, they pumped something like $1.5 trillion into the stock market.
But that's not going to none of the poor people.
Exactly.
That's not going to the people that is lower class. You have to have a good credit score anyway to get that anyway, and a lot of people don't have that. So
and it don't mean nothing to them.
Apply, right?
So what the Democrats came up with was to give them paid sick leave, because, you know, some of these jobs, they're telling you to stay home and do your work from home and what have you. Well, the Republicans is like, no, we can't do that. We can't. Like, wait a minute. Y'all just gave rich people who probably didn't need the damn money,
right,
$1.5 trillion, and won't give people who need the money, who aren't really making it, like you were saying, living paycheck to paycheck.
Right. I mean,
all right?
How you gonna be a person that has everything and next to a person with nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and not help out the person next to you with nothing? And
Because
that's America.
That's America.
I mean,
that's the sick mindset.
Right, that's the mindset of this United States government.
Mm-hmm.
And in having that mindset, why be a part? Why participate with
Mm-hmm.
that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, you know, it's something, right? And I'm gonna go ahead. Well, no, I'm gonna hold off on that. First, I'm gonna break that down a little later. But you know, like I said, these people would you know, well, they did pass the bill to give them sick pay leave or paid sick leave, whatever.
The people that was working.
Right.
Yeah.
They did pass the bill.
Like, what about all the millions of people that's not working?
Yeah.
That's disabled.
That's
I mean, it's a list of people that is reason why they're not working.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go all the way to poverty for sure now. If they miss 2 weeks or.
Well, what they did was, in this bill that they passed, they promised to pay employers, to make up the money to employers for paying their employees while they're off. Right. You know, but the thing is, now some of these employees are going to be staying home and working from home, which, you know, a lot of these jobs claim, well, you can't do that. Well, yes, you can. And what it tells us is something about the internet. The internet is not a luxury. It's a utility. It's a tool. Okay, so it shouldn't be something that's just used by those that can afford it and what have you. You know, most of us can barely afford it if we working people. You know, but it should be for everybody, and everybody should have access to the internet. Not only for, you know, handling your own personal business, but for a lot of the jobs that you don't need to be at the corporation under somebody's watch. You have the wherewithal to take care of your business and do the job. And of course, a lot of the schools, like I said, and the universities are now doing their classes offline. University of Delaware were the first case of the coronavirus was confirmed at University of Delaware. Now, from what I understand, there are another 4 or 5 cases and what have you.
Right, because every case is a 15-day grace period.
Right.
So you had it for 15 days.
Right.
Before you even showed. So everybody that you've been in contact with within 15
damn
days,
chance that
you're done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how vicious this virus is. It's unknown until it's known. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? So
now, of course, there are a lot of myths surrounding the coronavirus. Okay, and there's something interesting. They call it the novel. Novel means new. The novel coronavirus. Okay. Um, reason being, and you pointed this out what, a week ago.
no.
The coronavirus is not new.
Right.
Okay, it's been on the back of the can Lysol products.
Right.
So now so I guess maybe there's a new strain because they're calling it the new coronavirus.
I mean, but that's the thing that they do. Ebola came out how many times?
Yeah.
Ebola done swept across this about at least 2-3 times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with genetically put together enhanced bio warfare, because that's what it is.
Now, you know, this cat made up a list of myths about the coronavirus. And one of the things he said on the coronavirus is one of the myths is that corona is man-made. And he contends that that's a myth. And, you know, maybe, you know, well, the rumors, which originated on the universal social media accounts, weren't supported by any credible evidence, you know, that got more elaborate with time, that the coronavirus was created in a lab. Okay, now, you know, there are other myths. Home remedies can cure and prevent the virus. I don't fool with the home remedies.
So my thing is, I heard it wasn't a lot of people of color, black people, getting this disease.
No, not a lot. It's been in a couple of African countries, and there are some black people that have got it.
But it isn't catching them like it is
other people.
Well,
you know what? Here's the thing. You know what? And I don't want to stereotype nobody and what have you, okay? But when you look at people that let their dog kiss them in the mouth after the dog been licking their privates, they don't wash their hands when they go to the bathroom,
right?
You know, that do all kind of other little nasty, dirty stuff. Don't wash their food. You know, I seen a lady on TV. She was a cook. She's like, no, I don't believe in washing the chicken. Just go ahead and cook it. I want none of your salmonella.
Salmonella is serious. I had that before.
You know,
that's a serious.
I don't want none of your salmonella chicken, honey. You know, so now black people, how many times you went in the house and went towards the refrigerator and one of your parents said, did you open that refrigerator, do it without washing your hands in my house?
Right.
They ain't having that.
Right.
And that's just a trait in black people's house.
Right.
Okay, so there's a reason that we're not catching it like that.
Right.
We fastidious and we clean about that.
Right.
What? You better not come out the hands, come out the bathroom and somebody hear the toilet flush and didn't hear no water run.
Right.
Are you kidding me? That's word. Okay. Now, about it being man-made, that's, considered a myth. Okay. But here's the thing. I do not put anything at all based on their history past this government, past the people in this society. And when I say based on their history, I'm not talking about some mythology. I'm not talking about something somebody made up. I'm talking about documented evidence.
Right.
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Right.
Where in the fall
deliberately.
What they did was in the fall of 1932, okay, they started sending out flyers in the black community in Alabama, Macon County, Alabama, that if you have bad blood, you need to come get checked out. And what they did was they found 300 men with syphilis, and they just told them they had bad blood. They picked a total of 500 men. 2 of them didn't have syphilis. This was the control group. 3 of them did have syphilis, and they didn't treat them. They didn't treat them. They ran this study for 40 years with false treatment.
40 years.
40 years. From 1932 to 1972 with false treatment. Telling these people that they were treating them.
When they weren't.
Because they wanted to see the effects that syphilis had on black men if it was left untreated.
and women, because you know they still was going out and having sex with
Sure.
their significant others. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Spreading it in the community.
Exactly.
Yo,
Exactly. You know what they did was they gave what they said free blood tests, free treatment by the county health department and government doctor. The black and white sign said you may feel well and still have bad blood. Come and bring all your family. Because see, at first, you know, even back then, this is why they said bring all your family. Even back then, you know, our people did not trust white doctors.
of course.
You know,
How you trust somebody that's
right.
hanging?
And what they were afraid of, this was some army draft trick. You know, you come show up, and next thing you know,
You in the army,
they can get your ass in the army and send you off to camp or somewhere. Even though there wasn't a war going on in 1932, hundreds of black men, all black and many poor, signed up. As they say, you know, bring your, well, it can't be. If they say bring your whole family, they're gonna check us all out. Some men thought they would
give it all to you.
Yeah.
Give it to you all.
Yeah. You know, some men thought they were being treated for rheumatism or bad stomachs, and they were promised free meals, free physicals, and free burial insurance. So if something happened to you and this thing don't work out, don't worry about it. Your family will take care of your burial. You know, and the study recruited actually 600 black men. Oh, it was 399 that were diagnosed with syphilis, and 201 were control group without the disease. The researchers never obtained informed consent from the men and never told the men with syphilis that they were not being treated, but were simply being watched until they died and their bodies examined for the ravages from the disease.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Now, when syphilis, before penicillin was created, right, which was 1945, penicillin was accepted as the treatment of choice for syphilis. 1945, the U.S. Public Health Service created what they called rapid treatment centers to help men afflicted with syphilis, except the men in the Tuskegee study.
Wow.
They wouldn't give them the penicillin. In 1966, a public health service investigator raised concerns about the study. This guy, Peter Buxton, wrote to the director of the U.S. Division of Venereal Disease about the ethics of the experiment, but he was ignored. So what he did was he leaked the information to the Associated Press. This is how it came out. Now, he started his investigation into this in 1966 and went to all different government agencies to try to bring a stop to this. All right, this is a white dude. All right, took him 5 years to realize that, you know what, they ain't gonna do nothing about it. They're just gonna keep letting these people die and spread this disease throughout Macon County in Alabama. This is how low life these people were. And it wasn't until 1972 when he finally leaked it to the Associated Press that it was brought to a stop. The syphilis victims in the U.S. study went untreated for 40 years.
Wow.
All right. Let me tell you something. The American healthcare system is run by drug dealers and evil, greedy bastards. Most painkillers are addictive opiates, creating lifelong customers. There are no cures.
Right.
Treatments are given in perpetuity, keeping a steady cash flow.
Right.
Healthcare is only for the wealthy. If you're poor and get sick, it's your own damn fault. And you should just die, according to these evil, greedy bastards.
Wow.
Yeah. When was the last time the American medical community created cured anything? Yeah. Ain't no profits in cures. Ain't no profits in cures.
WHGE 95.3 FM. Wow.
Yeah.
It ain't no profits in cure.
Mm-hmm. This is the open eye.
Wow. That's messy.
Yeah. That's crazy messy, bro.
Crazy messy. Yeah. I mean, oh Lord.
And this is what we're dealing with, brother. This is what we're dealing with. This is why Nsoromma and Patrice Gibbs do what we do.
Wow. Yo, what up, Mitch? Steve, Alfonso. Yeah, we see y'all. Keep tuning in. Call in too. You know what it is. Yeah. Hey. Hey, you see, I read on that side too. You see, hey, if the number backwards,
Read
turn
it
your phone
backwards.
Yo.
Yeah, buddy. You know, that's word.
Oh my God.
Yeah, buddy. Now the coronavirus, for the most part, you know, it came up. It came up in China. You know, and like I said, well, you know, the myth is that it was man-made, and there are those that say this is just absolutely a myth. It wasn't man-made, and maybe it wasn't. You know, but I'm gonna tell you something. Before this virus came up in China, the populace of China was protesting against the government.
Right.
They protesting now, y'all.
Oh no, everybody in the house. Ain't nobody on the street. I mean, they cleared.
That's not funny, but damn.
The street.
Yep.
And
ain't nobody protesting now.
This is really disturbing. What you mean? I mean, you gotta really look at all the things that's been done over the last. But see, I'm on a 50-year round. So I've been in the game and in the world 50 years. So I've seen a lot. I've seen all of the diseases go by. Zika, Ebola, virus, what's that? Anthrax, AIDS. All of these particularly man-made design diseases to control the population has been like part of the government's, you know, warfare. Yeah. So you as a person, you can't depend on the government. No. You know, and I'm so glad you said that, brother. You know, because the way you said, look, rest assured, there is a plan for black people. Don't get it mixed, okay? All right. Remember Hurricane Katrina? Yeah. You know, it was you know, the press coverage was blatant about how badly black people were treated. And I mean, it was just shown on the news raw bold. Okay, black people were left to die and outwardly murdered on the bridges to get out of New Orleans and what have you. Bodies floating in the flood waters, and those seeking help were treated like unwanted refugees in their own damn country. Right. Like they was from some foreign land. And this was broadcast uncensored. That's not happenstance or government incompetence that it was broadcast uncensored. This was carefully planned, controlled out of chaos. It was believed the reaction of black people to the events of Hurricane Katrina would result in unprecedented rioting and violence. This would give the government the opportunity to implement Plan Rex 84. But the people didn't riot. We didn't Rex go off. 84. Rex 84. What's up, GRB? Rex 84 is short for Readiness Exercise 1984, because that one was updated. Yeah, it's a classified scenario and drill developed by the United States federal government to detain large numbers of United States citizens deemed to be national security threats in the event the president declared a state of national emergency. Sound familiar? Yeah. The plan was first revealed in detail in a major daily newspaper by a reporter in 1987. Take notice that most black communities nationwide are enveloped by interstate highways, giving the military easy access. Right. To surround you. That's right. And they can just shut you down immediately. It's only 4 ways into your area. That's right. And we shut all 4 of them down, you're locked up. That's right. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Where do we go from this point? If we they already say that you have no rights as a citizen. The Constitution doesn't apply to you. Okay, as a black person, the Constitution doesn't apply to me. Then why am I participating in paying taxes and doing all the things that the other citizens do? I shouldn't, right? So, and on that aspect, we need to come together and get our own community, our own government, our own everything, and just take it from there. Black nationalism, y'all. You know, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we have no friends in the world. If you're looking for a friend, like I always tell you, like Dr. Clark says, look in the mirror. If that face in the mirror ain't friendly, you ain't got no friends. You're in bad shape. Exactly. That's right. This is Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. And as I always tell you,
Destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you
as an option.
This is Open Eye.
I'm Nsoromma.
I'm Patrice Gibbs.
WHGE 95.3 FM. More than radio. You dig? Yaga! I said, good show. Tune in next Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Come get this information.
I'm telling you.
Grow that soul. You see what I'm saying?
Y'all hear my man in the background.
You want to say something?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Look, there's a reason we do what we do.
Yeah.
Because we want you to be aware of what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And what you're up against. All right? My eyes open.
Social awareness, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
Be aware of your surroundings, you know what I'm saying? Black Yaga!